Welcome, my name is Dani Walker. Today I'm going to share with you all the evening gowns that Miss Universe South Africa wore for the past 5 years. If you want to see more episodes like this, you can find them in the evenings gown playlist on the channel. Of course, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification so that you'll know when new episodes come out. And as we near 90,000 subscribers, I would greatly appreciate if you share the channel with your friends. South Africa in recent years has been a country to watch. They have produced 2 Miss Universes and had top 5 and semi-finalist placements. So we're gonna start in the year 2017 when Demi-Leigh took home the national title. One thing you're gonna notice about gowns in South Africa is that the evening gowns every year are gonna be very similar for the contestants. One thing that I've noticed about evening gowns in South Africa is that the gowns from year to year are similar. So I don't know if they're just primarily working with one designer or multiple designers that have similar styles, but you're gonna see consistencies. So the year that Demi won the national title, the gowns were pretty much all these pastel colors. They had chiffon and floral lace appliques all over them. So you see this consistent style. Demi was really on the night that she won her national competition, and then you can tell why. She won the international title later. She has what I call the eye of the tiger when she's walking down the runway. She just looks so focused, but it's not like she's trying too hard. It's that she knows what she came there to do. So that's just something else that I wanted to mention. But this evening gown was beautiful on her. The lace neckline was lovely. And of course, her styling with it was very reminiscent to me of the hairstyles that women would wear in the 1940s when they would have some sort of really extreme part, a little bit of volume, lots of curls, some volume, possibly pin curls in there sometimes. But it was a really beautiful classic look that was paired with this evening gown. I wish that there was better footage of the gown, but they pretty much stayed locked into the contestants' facials that year, so we don't have a great full shot of the evening gown. But it's beautiful, it's flowing, it's lace, and it fit her to perfection. For the preliminary competition at Miss Universe, Demi wore an evening gown that was very unique. It's kind of interesting to see that she had a nationals gown that was green, and then also they used green for preliminaries. And I think it's interesting because green is such a rare color to win in. Now, let's also note she wasn't crowned in green, but still green is a unique choice. This gown, though, it was classic. It was kind of going along those lines, too, of that vintage sort of look. And we even see with her hairstyling an extreme side part and a red lip that women more commonly wore in like the 30s, the 40s, the 50s. It's not something that we usually see. This gown fit her perfectly, and the thing that I noticed and really liked about it was the added element of this bow on the back. So I want you to remember that bow for a minute because we're going to talk about it later. And actually this gown was used again as Zozibini was preparing for competition, and she wore this gown for a photo shoot. And that's what South Africa tends to do, is they will reuse wardrobe, which is just it's kind of interesting, and it's sort of cute. It reminds me of when people get married and they do the whole something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue. It kind of reminds me of that. For her finals gown, though, we saw a very different look, and this has been one of my favorite looks from our recent Miss Universes. The styling was perfect. The gown was this subtle nude, and it matched her so perfectly that you almost couldn't see the bodysuit underneath it. But it was daring in its own way because it didn't take up a lot of space on stage. It was so minimal, but the crystals that were adorned, the hair up, the makeup, oh, all of it. One of my favorite looks. Don't forget to share your favorite Miss South Africa look in the comments below. In 2018, Tamaryn won her national title in a beautiful white evening gown. And white, of course, can be a great choice for a lot of contestants, but there are the few contestants where I feel like it was the perfect choice. And so this white was absolutely angelic on her, and we're gonna get back to that in just a second, but it was so beautiful, and I feel like when I saw images of it, I couldn't appreciate the gown for really what it was, but when you see her walking in it, I just think that the fringe along the neckline was so well done and such a nice touch. And the fact that her hair was back, really showing off her beautiful facial features, was really, really great. Now, when she went to Miss Universe, she wore an evening gown, also white, flowing. We saw, once again, that long kind of cape look, so very angelic. So I felt like they took some inspiration possibly from her national title and then brought that over to Miss Universe because it looks great. We know it does well. But the styling of the Universe prelims look reminded me very much of Oksana from Russia, and I'm curious if that was the inspiration for that, because I know that a lot of people credit that evening gown, which was by Gucci, to one of their favorite Miss Universe gowns ever. So it was just interesting to see the possible inspirations. Now for finals, she wore one of my ultra favorite gowns ever at Miss Universe, and it was this crystallized corseted bodice with this slit that was sort of tacked up or draped at the hip, and I liked it so much because it looked like a celebrity's gown. I could easily see this on someone like Candace, you know, the Victoria's Secret angel. That's who I would imagine this gown on someone like, and just all legs and glistening and shimmering on the red carpet. So this evening gown was very, very unique, and I loved it. It's been one of my favorite choices for them, but I think that they just do such a fantastic job dressing their contestants anyways. At Miss Universe, it's kind of hard for them to go wrong. If you're a pageant contestant and you are in need of some guidance for your next competition, then be sure to check out the free pageant prep course that's linked in the description. Zozibini's national gown in 2019 was very surprising to me. It was so simple. It was so simple, but when you have a face like hers, I feel, and when you're gonna rock short hair, you better go all out with it. You better lean into it. And maybe that was the thought behind it. When I watched that competition, her walk, everything was just on point. Her speaking abilities, her presence on stage, and so she really did not need a lot anyways to win. But I will say, when she went to Miss Universe, they pulled out all the stops. So first of all, her preliminary gown, this white gown with this beautiful cape. And I think that the thing I really loved about the cape was the structure at the shoulders. It looks so couture. It is. And also the fact that they put a tribal print inside of that gown that was significant to Zozy. What a great touch. But they glammed it up and they added some little sequins and stones in there too. So we didn't lose that feeling that, okay, this is a competition gown. And it was perfect. But her finals evening gown for Miss Universe, it's one of those gowns kind of like the lava gown where it's just so unique that you're not going to see anything really ever quite like it again. And you shouldn't, because not only is it unique in itself, it made the most sense for Zozy. So she talked about carrying a bit of South Africa with her on stage through that gown because it was representative of the sands and then the waters in Africa, and you could see that. And the way that it was executed, that high neckline and all of the draping beads, that itself, that part of it reminded me of the gowns that we would see in the 1980s, because there was some structure in the shoulders of that gown. Even the bodice of that gown itself, the way that they beaded it on the bodice and then allowed the extra beads to drape over it, how they layered it, such a unique choice. It was the perfect choice. It's just another one of my favorite gowns. 2020 was a very unique year for all pageants, and instead of appointing a representative, they still decided to hold a pageant, but it was sort of virtual, but then there was an in-audience part of it with only a few people in there, so we didn't get the benefit of seeing the grand stage that they normally use for Miss Universe South Africa, so that was a little bit sad, I think, for the contestants, but nonetheless, they still did a really great job with the set. And Natasha, who represented South Africa at Miss Universe, she actually placed as second runner-up that year. And the reason that that's possible is because the Miss South Africa organization, they have the franchising rights to send queens to Supranational, Universe, and to World. So what they do is, yes, there's the overall Miss South Africa, but there's also the runner-up positions, and really anyone can go to any of their respective international titles, depending on where the Miss South Africa organization thinks that they'll be the best fit. Her national gown looked very couture. My favorite part of it was how tightly they were able to cinch it and fit it and give it shape towards the knees of the gown, so that mermaid shape, while still allowing for a slit. Not easy to do. The fit of it was perfect on her. I do wish that the hairstyling was different. I haven't seen this hairstyle on her really outside of this part of the competition. It's not her, what I would say, signature look is, and I would have liked to have seen something different, but that face, right? That face. I feel like Miss Universe 2020 is always a little bit difficult to talk about when we talk about South Africa. So Natasha wore this really, really unique evening gown, and honestly still I'm not even positive of the color because it sort of changes in the lighting. Sometimes it looks more green, sometimes it has more of a blue tint to it. Let me know if you know. The part I really liked about this gown was, first of all, it's corseted, but they had this sheer mesh panel in the back, so you're able to add a little bit more sexiness. But I think the slit honestly was the sexiest part of this gown. It was ultra, ultra high, and the gown fit her perfectly. The other element we have to talk about that's very unique are the gloves. The gloves, I like that the gloves had the matching stones on the top of it because it was this continuation of the neckline of the gown onto the gloves, which was really unique. So this year, South Africa did not place, and it shocked a lot of people because Natasha is such a strong representative. She really is, and a lot of people thought that she would place, myself included. But Miss Universe has surprises. So I really liked this gown, but I didn't love it for competition. It surprised me as a competition gown. I just thought this gown, you could wear it to an appearance, you can wear it on a red carpet, but I didn't think of it as something to wear at Miss Universe. Now there was a different gown. It was supposed to be her finals gown, and that one we didn't get to see her recompete in, but it was beautiful. It was all black velvet, which is a unique choice for Universe, but it had these cutouts essentially, and it had these shapes in it, and the gown was actually held together by rhinestones. So it was really unique. It had kind of this cape element thing happening and going on, but even that gown surprised me to put her in black because I think black is classic and elegant and it used to win a lot. I think it's tough nowadays because of how designers have really progressed when it comes to beading and stoning a gown. So when you wear black, it's tricky. In 2021, Lalela actually wore 4 evening gowns. So this isn't quite as common, but I'm gonna share with you all of them. So when she competed at the national final 4 gown, we saw her in a beautiful white evening gown. This gown and the style of it kind of reminds me of House of CB corseted dresses, which I'm a huge fan of, and it's beautiful. Now, remember I told you to hold that thought on Demi's green evening gown, and I didn't realize this till rewatching it. Lalela's white gown that she competed in had the bow on the back, which is like Demi's Universe prelim gown. So it was interesting to see that carry over. But this gown was simple, but it really made her stand out. The hairstyle was perfect for it. It really showcased her face. Then for the onstage question, the contestants changed into all red evening gowns. And even though technically this wasn't, I don't think it was scored as you would score an evening gown competition, I did want to include it because it was the gown that she was crowned in. So this gown, very similar to the white evening gown in terms of silhouette and style, looked beautiful on her, but I think that when they put everybody in the red evening gowns, it kind of levels the playing field a little bit. And also considering that the evening gowns that they put them in, they were pretty simple. They weren't evening gowns that were fully embellished in rhinestones or anything like that, but still lovely choice for her. Now, Miss Universe was really challenging for South Africa this year. There was a lot of support that was pulled from her, and that was really hard to see. But she still showed up, still placed second runner-up, okay? Great for her. She wore a white evening gown to the preliminary competition. It was pretty simple, but I thought it was neat how there were the stones placed all the way down the center and sort of almost hidden under or hidden within the fabric. So that was beautiful. I think that the gown style itself was great. We've seen her in white already before, so once again we're seeing a carryover quality, and the gown was very lengthening. It did remind me of a gown that we've seen in Venezuela and also at Miss USA that actually I think even placed second runner-up at Miss USA. I'm pretty sure it did. So kind of interesting parallels. But then for her finals evening gown, I thought it was a very different, unique choice. I personally preferred the preliminary evening gown. I just liked how lengthening it was, and the finals gown just really surprised me. I also would have preferred to see the mesh that was in the gown match her skin tone perfectly. That's one thing that I really pay attention to in evening gowns when contestants wear mesh, is if you're gonna do something sheer and mesh, I really wanna see that it matches the contestant's skin tone. And this mesh to me actually looked like it was a black mesh on her, and I just wanted to see something skin colored, and I feel like that would have made me like that gown more. But I did like the structure of the shoulders on this style, but personally it just wasn't one of my absolute favorites that South Africa has worn in recent years. But with all things considered, she still came out with that second runner-up placement after overcoming all those obstacles that it took to even reach that stage. So great for her, great for them, congrats. Still watch out for them this year, leading up to Miss Universe. They can still make that comeback and win another title. So I'm very excited to see this year's competition. Can't wait to cover it. I hope that you enjoyed this episode. If you want to see more episodes like this, don't forget to check out the other ones that I created for every gown that Miss Venezuela wore, Philippines, as well as the USA. And if you want to see other countries covered on the channel, then just comment your requests below. I appreciate you joining me for this one, and I'll see you next time.